Creating a fresh take on the action genre is hard, but in 1994, what could have been a goofy gimmick turned into one of the highest grossing films of the year, gave audiences the ultimate white-knuckle ride, reignited Keanu Reeves' career, and cemented Sandra Bullock as a star. Wes and Beat pay the fare and take a seat on the bus to experience the action thriller Speed. On View, The Right Thing.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of View the Right Thing. Hi, Beat. How you doing?
Hi, Wes. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, I think the viewsters know that we record like a handful of these sometimes at a time, or like record them really close together. And I feel like we've had a break, and now we're just getting back to it. And I've missed watching movies with you.
Me too. Don't get all sappy. I'm gonna cry.
Oh, I'm gonna make you cry. Okay. Yeah. So it's been a little bit, and I know that you've been out and seen some movies. So let's start with, have you seen any trailers that you're excited for?
Okay, so Smile. I'm super excited for Smile. It's the first horror movie trailer that I've seen in a while that's actually scared me, like
Sure.
in a part in the trailer, which hopefully that's not the only good part.
Yeah.
Like the only good jump scare,
Yeah.
The advertising for that has been really good. I think they did a really good job with that. I seen Don't Worry Darling's trailer. That was a good trailer. Maybe I literally set a reminder on my phone saying, this weekend go with Ruth to go see this.
And you did go see it, right?
I did. It was so good to me, even though no one else seems to think so.
It's all right. The important thing is, especially when you spend your own money on a movie ticket, that you enjoy it. Like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day if other people like it or not. It only matters if you did. So
Yeah.
if you had a good time, then it did.
Yeah, as we said before, my opinion counts as 10 people's opinion.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Any other trailers jump out in your mind?
Oh, a while back we were talking about the Honey and Blood.
Oh yeah, you saw the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh trailer?
Yes, I've seen it. I've shown it to like 10 different people. I was like, I am going to see this. I don't care how bad it may seem.
Yeah.
It's so good to me.
Amazing. I saw a trailer for The Fabelmans. Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
So like I was like in tears when I saw the trailer. So listeners will know I'm a like massive Steven Spielberg fan. I make movies because of Steven Spielberg. I have like a pretty strong connection to my parents, and my dad passed away 13 years ago, and so like I have sort of a connection with movies with him because of music, and it has really strongly connected with Steven Spielberg. And so this movie is basically Steven Spielberg's story. It's a story about him and his parents, and him growing up in kind of a crazy household, and being given a love for film because of his parents. And there's like this really great moment in the trailer where the mom turns to him and says, "What was your favorite part?" And I just like freaking lost it, because that was what my parents always asked me as soon as we came out of the theater, was what was your favorite part? And I was just like, oh my God, this movie's made for me. So I'm really excited for The Fabelmans, and I hear it's excellent.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of if I saw any other teasers that I'm really excited for. There was a new Halloween Ends trailer that just came out. And now the movie will, by the time people listen to this episode, the movie will be out. But I'm excited for that because I want to see how they're going to wrap up that storyline. Oh, go ahead.
That's with the Halloween?
Yeah, the final Halloween, quote unquote final Halloween film.
I haven't seen that, but I have seen a lot of what's her name? Jamie Lynch?
Jamie Lee Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis. There we go. I've seen a lot of her TikToks lately. She must be advertising it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it comes out, I mean, for us, not for the listeners, it's already out. I think for us, it comes out in like 2 weeks, so.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. And, there was something, you sent me one. You were like, I think you're probably excited for the new Hellraiser.
Oh my god, I completely forgot that I seen that. But yes, it looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, and they're I think kind of going back to the books, sort of vibe, because I think in the original story, Pinhead is a woman. And so they've gone back to that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many movies I want to see.
Yeah.
It's so little time.
Yeah. So we were talking about this a little while ago before we started recording, and we think that this episode is going to be our shortest episode ever. This is going to be a mini episode, for a few reasons. This is one of those modern movies that is, there's not a lot of depth or subtext. It's like what you see is what you get. There's not a lot of mystery to it, and and it's kind of a high octane. It doesn't really take much time to breathe, so I don't know. Let's just get into it. So we watched Speed. The description, I'm going to give the short description, which is a young police officer. I'll try that again. A young police officer must prevent a bomb from exploding aboard a city bus by keeping its speed above 50 miles per hour. That's it. That's definitely the plot of this film. So, first question, as always. Beat. You had never seen this film before. Did you like this movie?
I loved it in a way that you love nostalgic movies.
Okay. Do you want to expand on that?
It gave 80s. It like you said, it gave no depth, no subcontext, no nothing like that. It just gave explosion.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Cute little romance, like stuff like that. And I liked it for those reasons, but I wouldn't say this is something that I would continue to rewatch. Only because there's no depth for me.
Yeah. I might blow your mind here, Beat. I agree with you, and this is not one of my favorite movies. This is, and it's funny because the last time I saw this movie was opening weekend when it was in the theater, and I remember walking out of the theater not liking this film. So I was kind of, and it blew my mind then because everybody seemed to love it, and still to this day people seem to really love this film. I just think it's so stupid. There's a lot of it that I really do enjoy. I like Keanu. I love Sandra Bullock. I think the cast is great. Alan Ruck is really great in it. Jeff Daniels. The general action sequences and plot are kind of fun, but there's just some stuff that I just can't get around. And there's one huge thing that I just really, really don't like, and I don't understand why it's in this movie. We'll get to that in a minute.
Oh God!
But I'm glad that this wasn't like I love this everything about this. I'm glad you didn't say that because I was worried you were going to be like, oh yeah, I loved everything about this film.
No. I am honest to a fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more of a psychological person, so
Sure.
that's why I took to so many movies that had like a subcontext and it had a deeper meaning, and that's what I look for in movies, something to make you feel something.
Sure.
And this just made me feel action, boom.
Yeah. This kind of, you know, the there's a director who has since died, Roger Ebert. Are you familiar with Roger Ebert?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so this is a before your time thing. So in the 80s and 90s, there were these two reviewers. They wrote for, I think, opposing Chicago newspapers. Like they each, like one wrote for the Chicago Sun-Times, maybe the other wrote for like the Chicago Tribune or something. Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. And they came together and had a show that aired, I want to say, on Saturday mornings. And their show was called At the Movies with Siskel and Ebert. And they became like super, super popular. And they had this sort of rating system where it was like thumbs up or thumbs down. So it was like, if you knew a movie was good or was going to be critically liked, if it got 2 thumbs up, that was like, they would put it on posters and in newspaper ads. This film got 2 thumbs up. And so I never was really that much of a fan of Gene Siskel. I think because I just didn't think enough like him to really agree with his opinions. But I really did like Roger Ebert. We disagree a little bit on this film. He gave this film 4 out of 4 stars for his review for the Chicago Sun-Times. And one of the things I loved about Roger Ebert is he coined all of these really cool movie sort of phrases about filmmaking and about movies. One I really love is really common in like 80s and some 90s films, action films. Not this one in particular, but you know how you'll have a good guy and a bad guy will like have their final fight, and it's in some sort of like dark, nondescript factory. They're like fighting on scaffolding or whatever, and there's like flames popping off or steam popping out of pipes and stuff, and there's you've no idea what this factory makes, but you know that there's flames and steam, and so he refers to those in film as steam and flame factories. That's all they actually manufacture. and I love this stuff. I have a whole glossary, a whole book of movie terms that he created. And this film he called a bruised forearm movie. Sort of this idea that you're constantly being grabbed by the person you took to the theater, and they're constantly grabbing onto your arm because it's just so like high energy and such, there's like twists, and this film does do a good job of every time they sort of tackle some insurmountable issue, another thing pops up, and I kind of have to give it credit for that.
Yeah, I felt like I watched 3 thrillers in one movie.
Yeah. I mean, obviously implausible, but you kind of suspend the disbelief for the most part to take this ride, so to speak. The movie was made by director Jan de Bont, and I think this was his directorial debut. Maybe he was a cinematographer, and for a lot of like 80s and 90s, like really cool. Mostly action films, a few horror films that you probably maybe have seen. So he's really responsible for like the look and feel of like some really cool 80s movies. So he did Cujo, which maybe you've seen. He did a bunch of Madonna music videos. He was the director of photography on The Hunt for Red October. He did Flatliners with Kiefer Sutherland. Basic Instinct, and one of my favorites, Die Hard. He was the director of photography for Die Hard. So, he sort of had a pretty good pedigree visually and for action stuff already. Oh, he did this other movie. He was a cinematographer for this movie called Roar, which is freaking insane. it's a movie about people and lions, and had Tippi Hedren, who did The Birds, and Tippi Hedren's daughter is Melanie Griffith, and Melanie Griffith was really young, and they had these lions like in their house, like basically like living with them, and at one point her daughter Melanie Griffith was mauled by one of these lions. It's I can't believe they made this movie. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, so he was the cinematographer for that. So
That sounds insane.
yeah.
1, to have them there, and 2, to be mauled.
Yeah, right. So let me ask you: Did you take any notes in this film? Did you have time to take notes?
I took notes, but they're literally just like, love Ortiz.
Oh,
He got
sure.
on top of the train so fast.
Wait, which guy? Wait, what?
They're just so like
Oh, you're reading a couple.
incidental.
Different-
Yeah, they're
I thought you were talking
they
about
go at it.
Ortiz. I was like, Ortiz didn't get on the train.
One of my notes is, damn, KR.
Damn, KR. Would you know what that was in relation to?
I do.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's start at the top. Let's start at the top of your notes. We'll work our way down. What you got
Okay.
first?
So the first one actually is damn KR, and it was damn Keanu Reeves.
Okay. What was that? Just in general, you just saw him and you were like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah. Oh, to be a young woman in 1994 instead of just a baby.
Oh, sure. So we learned something about this film. Should we talk about that? Actually, maybe we shouldn't, because it will reveal maybe some personal information about you. So maybe we don't. But we'll say this. We learned that you were a baby when this movie was out. So.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay. You don't care. Okay. So we learned that so the movie started and Beat goes, well, that logo looks so old. And I was like, oh, it's like, almost 30 years old or whatever. And I said, yeah, I think it's like 1994. And then I was like, well, when were you born? And she was like, 1994. And so I looked it up and I was like, 1994. I was like, when's your birthday? And she told me a birthday. And it turns out that, and she said, oh, was this a movie for my birth? And this movie opened in the theaters the day before Beat was born. Crazy.
And I was premature, so I was crawling out of that womb for this movie.
Yeah. Insane. Crazy. So you were a baby, so if only you had been a teenager or something, right?
Yeah. What a shot wasted.
Well, it's funny. So, he has this buzz cut in the film, which is not normally how you see Keanu Reeves in anything, right? Like, he's always got long hair. And I can't remember what his haircut was like, but they were like, no, this isn't going to work for us. You need, you don't look like you're a cop. So he went out and buzzed his hair, and they didn't know, and he showed up, and they were freaked out. They were really worried that they might have to recast the movie.
Oh no, it was great. I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah. Okay, what's your next note?
The guy in the car, when the bus had to stay over 50 and he hijacked the
convertible
civilian's car.
Yeah.
The convertible. Oh my God, that guy was great. I loved him.
Yeah. And I think it might have been that guy. His license. Don't quote me on this, viewers, but I think it's that guy. His license had been just like revoked days before they started shooting this. So it's kind of a funny thing.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I did like when Mr. Villain Guy said that poor people are crazy. I'm eccentric.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
it's a great fucking line.
Mean. Yeah, that was a good line.
Yeah. He does some pretty good things, Dennis Hopper. He did that thing with the Jeff Daniels nose at the beginning when he like picks him up with his nose.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Jan de Bont didn't really like that idea. It was sort of improv, and he was like, I don't really like it. So then they had the director have it done to him, and he was like, "Oh my god, it hurts so much. Yes, you can do it." So that's how that ended up in there. Dennis Hopper's really smart, man.
Do this to this other actor.
Yeah.
Hurt him.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think he's a really good actor.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that about the director saying, like, he's sort of implying, yeah, go ahead and hurt this other guy. He's a big fan. I pointed out the 2001 A Space Odyssey poster at the end of the movie on the Chinese theater. And this director, Jan de Bont, was a huge Kubrick fan. And as we have discussed previously, Kubrick was known to abuse his actors. So.
Yeah. That's not good.
No. What else you got for me?
He went from elevator to bus to train. Man gets around. That's one of my notes.
Well, and they sort of foreshadow that, right? They say at the beginning of the thing, "Oh, he wants to stay mobile," which I think is kind of a little clever hint at what this movie is going to be.
Yeah. One of the things that I liked that I thought was really funny was that the road ran out and then the track ran out.
Yes. Like, and maybe...
Technically, the elevator ran out as well.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, eventually, intentionally ran out. It may be... I don't know if it's, like, weird for people who don't live in LA, but LA is always in a state of construction. Just nonstop construction. I mean, there are stretches of the highway. I've lived here for 12 years, and there is a stretch of highway that has been in construction the entire time. It's always always in construction here. So, it's actually pretty believable that there was sections of the freeway and sections of the subway that weren't done.
That's so funny. I did say LOL decapitated.
Yeah. And
my notes we're not at their top form today.
It is not the only movie to have a decapitation like that at the top of a train. There's another like really well known action film to do that. So we won't discuss it, but
I liked the fact that it didn't just pull away for the decapitation.
Oh, sure. That they kind of showed something.
Yeah, because most movies would just like make it like this big scene passing super fast kind of thing. You can't see anything, but you could literally see the head fall off. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
and I don't know how they shot that. I mean, I'm sure that was like a really a really safe, like, I don't think they were in a subway tunnel shooting that, but Keanu did do like, I think something like 90% of his stunts in this film. So, they actually tethered him underneath a bus. So
man's is crazy.
Yeah. Well, he was young and still kind of, he wasn't an action guy. He had done Point Break, and outside of that, he was sort of known as this like artsy kind of contemplative, almost a little bit of a wiener. But yeah, and then he did, multiple surfer things. He did like Bill and Ted, and he did that role in Parenthood where he's kind of that same kind of surfer character. But they kind of didn't originally want him for this. It was Point Break that sort of convinced them that he could do it. But they had supposedly they offered and had these actors turn down this role. You ready for this list? Mm-hmm. Kevin Bacon, Alec Baldwin, Stephen Baldwin, William Baldwin, Michael Biehn, Jeff Bridges, Jim Carrey, Nicolas Cage, Bruce Campbell, George Clooney, Kevin Costner, Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp, Michael Douglas, Richard Dreyfuss, Clint Eastwood, Harrison Ford, Richard Gere, Mel Gibson, Tom Hanks, Woody Harrelson, Michael Keaton, Christopher Lambert, Dolph Lundgren, Viggo Mortensen, Chuck Norris, Brad Pitt, Dennis Quaid, Mickey Rourke, Kurt Russell, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Selleck, Wesley Snipes, Sylvester Stallone, Patrick Swayze, John Travolta, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Bruce Willis.
Oh my god. Okay, so out of all of them, I could see three people playing, no, two people besides Keanu playing that role. And that would be Bruce Willis, number one. Hello. Yeah. And I don't know why. I could see Kevin Bacon doing it, but I'm going to go with Kevin Bacon.
Sure, yeah.
I love me some bacon, bro.
Who doesn't love bacon? I guess Jewish people.
Invisible Man was one of my favorite movies growing up.
Oh yeah. What was it called? That was called Hollow Man, right?
Yeah, Hollow Man. It's not Invisible Man.
It's got Elizabeth Shue in it. Love Elizabeth
Yeah, that
Shue.
movie was so good.
So originally, Keanu didn't even want to do this movie. He thought it was too much like Die Hard, which it totally is. Like if you know you said Bruce Willis, you could make this a John McClane Die Hard movie easily.
Literally copy and paste.
Yeah, for sure. Well, do you want to hear? Go ahead.
You wanted me to mention an elevator.
Okay, so the opening elevator sequence. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that in a second. I'm gonna tell you the list of actresses that they considered before Sandra Bullock.
Oh my God.
You ready? Rosanna Arquette, Kim Basinger, Glenn Close, Joan Cusack, Gina Davis, Cameron Diaz, Carrie Fisher, Bridget Fonda, Jodie Foster, Melanie Griffith, Daryl Hannah, Mariska Hargitay, Angelica Houston, Diane Lane, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Heather Locklear, Kay Lenz, Halle Berry. And I think Halle Berry turned it down because she was sort of like, well, I'm just like another black bus driver, and I don't really want to do that. That's not going to help me in my career in any way. Madonna, Demi Moore, Tatum O'Neal, Gwyneth Paltrow, Sarah Jessica Parker, Michelle Pfeiffer, Julia Roberts, Meg Ryan, Winona Ryder, Jane Seymour, Ali Sheedy, Brooke Shields, Sharon Stone, Meryl Streep, Emma Thompson, Leah Thompson, Jennifer Tilly, Marissa Tomei, Kathleen Turner, Sigourney Weaver, and Deborah Winger. They were all considered or were offered or turned down the role.
My goodness. Yeah. Okay, so Meryl Streep, Halle Berry, and Winona Ryder, I think would have been good because I think Meryl Streep, whatever she does, is amazing. I love her so much. Okay. But the other two have that vibe.
Yeah, and Winona Ryder, that would be great. Apparently, Keanu and Winona had huge crushes on each other back in the 80s, and they just sort of revealed that to each other in an interview a few years ago. They were in an interview, and it was this moment of oh my God, I had a crush on you. Oh my God, I had a crush on you. And it was sort of oh, are they in love now? This is crazy.
If they're not, I'm going to cry.
Yeah, I know, right?
You need to be.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's go back to the elevator thing. So that elevator sequence where the camera goes down from the top is a miniature model. I think it was oh God, maybe 35 feet long or tall if you stood it up, but they actually laid it down horizontally and just pulled the camera through that way. I shot it down and shot it like that.
It looked so real.
Yeah, and then the transition to the real scene. And I think they built elevator shafts, obviously. They built some sets for it as well. But yeah, Jan de Bont's really big on miniatures. I don't know what else is miniatures in this. I mean, I was watching this again, like I said, for the first time in almost 30 years, and kind of wondering, how did they do this? How did they blow up so much stuff? How did they destroy so many cars? The bus is just hitting just car after car after car after car. And they must have used miniatures for things like the airplane blowing up. I don't know how they did that. I mean, a guy jumps out of a vehicle, so maybe that they did that for real. But they had multiple vehicles blow up, their bus kind of early in the film blows up. And then of course this one. And they had the elevator stuff. I mean, obviously it's a set, but was any of that miniatures? And then like I said, like the bus hits just so many cars, just so much destruction. The subway train, like, you know, that I wonder if that some of that was miniatures, especially going through all the construction stuff. It must have been, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's like the only other place like I could think they could do a miniature of.
Yeah.
And then yeah, maybe the plane, but you mentioned the guy getting out of the little mover thingy.
Little tow thing. Well, so here's
Yeah.
here's a sad fact. So when they tow a plane, they have to have a pilot in the cockpit, or they have to have a person in the cockpit. So somebody died on that plane.
Oh no.
I think they're trying to imply that it was empty and that nobody died in it. You know, that the byproduct of what the cops what Jack had done didn't actually kill anyone, but the truth is, yeah, unfortunately, somebody did.
Sorry, Mr. Pilot.
Yeah. All right, do you have any other notes?
Nope, that'd be it.
So I'll tell you a couple other interesting things. So Jack drives a white Ford Bronco speeding down the LA highways, and they have some really interesting aerial shots of it. This movie came out, I don't know, like a week or 10 days or something before the O.J. Simpson chase. You know about that? I don't know if they like teach that in schools, or because, you know, you were a baby when
No.
this happened, so you don't know about this. Okay, so you do know what O.J. Simpson did or did not do? He did it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he fled from the police, and he had his friend driving this white Ford Bronco down the highway in LA, and it was this, like, I think it was hours long police chase where they were just following this white Ford Bronco. It was a big deal. And so it's kind of interesting that they had this aerial shot of this white Ford Bronco speeding down the LA freeway in this movie, and it happened to come out right before it happened in real life. So I thought it was kind
That's
of
hilarious.
an interesting little thing. The movie is on AFI's top 100, I think, pulse pounding movies, some thrill ride type thing. It's number 99. It barely made the list, which I was a little surprised, because it is, you know, we said, like I said before, it is like a high octane kind of thing. I mean, it definitely delivers on the action and sort of the. I found myself tonight watching it and actually catching myself being kind of tensed up when he was trying to get to them before they hit 55. Before the bomb armed itself. I was like, I knew what was going to happen, but I did catch myself kind of going, oh, this is really intense. So
I was that way when he was under the bus on the little trolley messing
Yeah.
with the bomb, and it kind of messed up.
yeah,
That's why I was like, ugh.
yeah, absolutely.
Somebody get him.
Somebody get him. They originally were going to have the bus go to Dodger Stadium and circle the parking lot there, but they couldn't get the rights to shoot there, so they used it's crazy to me that they got an airport instead, but, you know, I guess the Dodgers weren't up for it.
Wow. Meanies?
Okay, we could talk about the thing that like really just makes me about the film. The bus jumping the gap, the 50-foot gap. I can't stand it. It looks bad. There's like so much of this movie is like, you know, plot wise and sort of like how the movie moves is not realistic, but so much of it is kind of grounded in reality that moment just makes me go.
Yeah, like 30 feet or 25 probably would have been acceptable with that, not that much lift on the front end of the bus, you know. But
It's not going that.
50 feet.
It's not going that fast. It's 50 feet, and their whole like premise of it is, well, we'll get it on an incline, so we'll be going up. But if they're on an incline, the part they're jumping to is also higher, so that's also on an incline. So what? Like, if it was lower, I could maybe buy it. That bus, like the front of the bus, goes so freaking high. I don't get it. And so they
No one was hurt.
yeah. And they did launch a bus off of a ramp. The highway was completed. They didn't jump over a gap, obviously. They just digitally erased it, and they put digital birds into the movie, which is interesting because you'd think this, if this was made today, most of this movie's digital, right? Like they shoot it on green screens, and they're never actually really moving 50 miles an hour, and all the explosions are digital. But no, I mean, this was, around the time of Jurassic Park, so pretty early in the CG being super popular and done well. Mm-hmm. But the other part I just am blown away by is when they did the stunt, they had to do it a second time because the bus landed too perfectly. Like it was just smooth. And that kind of blows my mind. And the bus went higher and further than they thought it was going to go. And so the bus kind of like comes up out of the frame, the top of the frame a little bit, because they had no idea that it was going to do that. But man, I can't with it, that's when I'm like, okay. And then it causes me to look back at everything else in the film and go, yeah, this was all really, really stupid.
Yeah, like logically, him on the string underneath the bus that was going in circles would not have worked.
Yeah.
Like physics would have pushed him and the string to the I guess the right if you're looking where he's looking, and he would have not been able to stay center under there.
Yeah.
Especially when it broke, it would have flung him to the right. He would be dead under a tire instead of the left tire where he was obviously going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the little things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So the movie was written by Graham Yost, but kind of famously it was rewritten by an uncredited writer who came in and apparently wrote basically all the dialogue in the film. So the plot largely stayed the same with some small changes, and then the dialogue was completely changed by a young Joss Whedon, which is kind of interesting. And I think he did that a lot in the early 90s. Like I think he wrote a lot of, if not all, the dialogue in Toy Story as well. He was really well known for doing that and not getting credited for it.
That is so nice.
Yeah. Let's see here. I had a couple other notes here. I'm just trying to kind of going back and forth. 'Cause I'm skipping some of my notes because it's sort of like, I don't know. Oh, so Sandra Bullock was never driving that bus. They had a second steering wheel, so her steering wheel didn't do anything, and they had kind of like a driver's ed car almost.
Yeah.
And so they had another bus driver, and sometimes he was in a second seat by them, and then sometimes he was on top of the bus, which is kind of cool. I'd like to see that.
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't you want to kind of see that? Behind the scenes of that?
I'm just chilling on the top of the bus driving.
Yeah. Oh, Jack's license plate is 646. I don't know if you say Tez or T's or whatever, but apparently that's Hindi for fast. Which is kind of a little thing. They did a lot of little things like that, like the bus. You catch the bus number is 2525, which if you add it together is 50.
50, yeah. Yeah,
it's pretty little, some clever little fun things, I guess. I'm just kind of look through my notes here again real quick while I ask you if there's do you have any final thoughts? Any you liked it okay, but you wouldn't necessarily recommend it or watch it again, is kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I would go out of my way to watch it.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something to put on in the background, you go right ahead.
Oh, I know a fun fact. They blew up that house for real. They paid that family that owned that house $5,000 to blow up their house, and then completely rebuilt it for them.
What?
Right?
I don't even know how had a comment on this. I am going to refrain from commenting.
$5,000 just for like your time. I'm sure they put them in hotels and stuff too. $5,000 to blow up your house, plus we're going to completely rebuild it. Probably a good deal, unless it's like some sort of like historic or some sort of important, sentimental thing. My parents built this house with their bare hands, kind of thing. But outside of that, you're getting a new roof, a new foundation, new insulation, new windows.
Your property value goes up.
Yeah, I wonder how the neighbors felt about it. I'm sure they got paid too, but
get your damn blow up debris out my front lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably got a little something.
All right. Well, true to form, it is a fairly short episode. Not too bad. Not too bad. We're gonna be around the 40-minute mark here, which is not bad. A couple exciting things to share. We're now a weekly podcast, so we have episodes coming out every week. Supposedly, we'll see how that goes. We've got a bunch of guests coming in that I'm really excited about. I don't know how Beat's feeling about it yet, but we have a few guests coming in, which is pretty great. And we have we're gonna explore a little bit outside of our random wheel of movies, because we're kind of moving into some holiday season, and with the guests we're gonna be picking some more of the titles rather than just leaving it to chance. We're gonna have some holiday films coming up, which is really exciting. I think Beat's excited about that. We have
I am.
some really freaking crazy things. We're gonna have some animated stuff soon, hopefully. Mm-hmm. So, so it's gonna be good. So I'm not gonna reveal our special guest just yet, but I will say that I can tell you what our next film is going to be. Are you ready for this, Beat?
As I'll ever be.
So our next film, the movie that all the viewsters need to watch before next week, is City of Lost Children. It's like a cool French film that's like dark and kind of eccentric, and it's a pair of French directors that I really, really like, one of which went on to make movies like Amélie. So it's very visually striking and really, really kind of a cool, almost like a dystopian kind of movie. Very, very, very fun. So we'll get to that next week. Do you want anything you want to say before we sign off, Beat?
So happy that we're doing this.
That we're back? Yeah, me too. All
We're
right.
back, baby.
We're back, baby. All right. Till next week, everyone, bon cinema.